What's up, YouTube? My name is Coach Swole, and y'all seen by the title and the caption, we got a banger. But before we dive into that, I just want to say, firstly, thank you for all the support I've gotten thus far. We hit the 200 subscriber mark, and y'all have loved Coach Swole thus far. I had a hiccup. Apologize, it's out now, and I think I want to use this story as a catalyst to you. I don't use this as for myself. I use this as a motivation to others, because success starts with others first. And it's so hard to kind of categorize my success without being able to hear that my testimonial has any type of traction with somebody else or relationship with somebody else. And so being in a world where everything is so dark and so negative and where people can hold you down, or it's cool to be mean to somebody else, is very important for me to be able to level set and kind of to set my expectations, because the goal of this channel is not to be perfect. The goal of this channel is not to be the star, or it's not to be like, I'm perfect, I never had any mistakes. Quite frankly, everybody's fallible. Myself, I'm one of the most fallible people in the world. I make mistakes every day. But my goal with this channel, the goal behind Coach Swole, is to make sure you guys have the platform and the tools to learn from my mistakes. So if you take the title and the caption, if you take what I have to offer to heart, please like, subscribe, share it to anybody that you may know. What we're diving in today about is my life story. Me growing up as a black African-American male without his father for the majority of his life. How I was able to use that as a catalyst to graduate in 3 years. Being the outstanding finance major at Morehouse. Walking on, earning a full-ride scholarship. Getting the job of my dreams. All of this is possible. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what you have done in your past. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And it's so hard for people to understand that if you're going through these trials and tribulations. If you're in a trial right now, you don't see the way out because all you're doing is focusing on the trial. And I'm here to tell you that it's gonna work itself out. It's gonna pay off. All the hard work you're doing is gonna pay off. So, and again, thank you again for tuning in. I'm not the best storyteller, and I cannot tell you how long it's going to be, but just to level set the agenda and what I'm trying to do. The goal is to, one, tell you guys how I grew up. Before I do that, I want to tell you about my accolades again, right before I dive in, to show you that I am who I say I am. And then secondly, I want to be able to level set with you guys about my journey and how I'm able to pivot and where I'm going for myself. And then lastly, I want to give you guys my call to actions and tips and tricks that I use to be able to grow from that person growing up without his father and that person to grow up being financially impoverished to a person who's 23 years old, financially stable. I think I'm doing relatively well for myself. And then also, I think I'm doing a great job with myself mentally and being able to prepare for the future. I think I'm happy with myself. I'm comfortable enough with myself to be able to say that I love me. And I couldn't say that 2 years ago. And y'all hear me multiple stories, not just this one, for time's sake purposes, being able to talk about why I think motivation is so important. So without further ado, and without wasting any more time, I'm going to dive into my life story. My name is Chase, aka Coach Swole. You know what I'm saying? We lift every day. But before Coach Swole, there was a kid who grew up a little bit overweight. There was a kid who grew up without his father for the majority of his life, or without a father for the majority of his life. And that was really hard. And that kid didn't find out about it until he watched his dad get arrested on national television. And I'm about to dive into that now. So when I watched my dad get arrested on national television, I want to level set and say, he wasn't there when I was born growing up. So I didn't necessarily know who he was. But also, I had a mom that was hell-bent on me understanding who I was as an African American. I had a mom who had me at 19 years old and was determined to make ends meet even when she didn't know how. So with that being said, because of that, she didn't want to keep me sheltered of who my father was, but at the same time, she wanted to protect me. So she told me that my dad was always constantly working and that my dad was always out of town for me growing up. And that my dad was such an amazing person because that's who exactly you want your father to be. And she also didn't keep me sheltered from my father's side of the family. So I know exactly who my grandma is. I'm a grandma's baby at heart. and my grandma's my best friend. But when it comes to knowing my grandma's son or my father, I had no idea. And so because I wasn't sheltered from that side of the family, all I heard was all the great things that that person was. And so as a kid, you overhype things and you're looking so forward to meeting this person. This person becomes your idol. They become your best friend, like in your head. You can't wait to meet this person. And then when you meet this person, it's okay. You see them every now and again. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. But then they're always gone for so many months and you can't understand why. Like, why is this person gone? Why are they not here? And it's just like, as you matriculate, you kind of understand that, yeah, they working. You don't understand the working world. And I was a smart kid growing up. So I understood he was working, or at least drop my bottle. I understand he was working, at least so I thought. And nothing really clicked for me because me and my mom was so close as friends that all that other stuff didn't matter. So when she told me he was working, I actually thought he was working. But all of that came crashing down. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, me and my mom was best friends. So when we played hide and go seek, I thought we was playing hide and go seek in the dark because I was her best friend. And when she was crying, I thought it was because it was tears of joy. But all that came crashing down when I saw my dad at age 7 get arrested on TV in Atlanta for running over a police officer and driving with narcotics and drugs in the car. I remember full transparency watching that on TV. My mom calling my auntie and telling her not to turn on the TV. And you know what happens when you tell someone not to turn on the TV. It just so happens that I was at that house and I walked in when I saw it. And I saw the picture because I know what he looks like. And then everything, and I mean like everything clicked for me at that point. I was young, but I wasn't stupid. So it was just like, you know, y'all remember when, and I know y'all can attest to this if y'all my age, I'm 23 years old. When they taught y'all about drugs, and they taught y'all about all of the things that was bad, but you necessarily didn't know it was bad until they told you. Yeah, so I saw all of that, and then it was just like taking a step back. Before he got arrested on the TV, my dad, he was a hardcore gang member, and he also wasn't there when I was growing up, like I said. So when I did get to spend time with him, and my mom tried to keep me sheltered from him, she also wanted to understand that I knew who he was. So I got to spend some time with him. But when I did spend time with him, and I did have those classes about drugs, I learned, oh shit, I knew what it was like what weed was like and what people look like on dope, because he had me in the car when he was selling it when my mom wasn't around. Like, full transparency. So watching him get arrested on television, it was just full confirmation. Like, you wanted to see it, but didn't want to believe it. But I had nothing to do but believe it. So when I saw him get arrested on television, it was just like, damn, that's my dad. Like, that's the person who made me who I am today, like, brought me into this life. And it was so embarrassing because the light, like, everything started clicking. That's why the lights was getting cut off. That's why my mom was crying. It wasn't because I was the best friend. And it was just like, I remember having that call when he was able to have that call. You know what I'm saying? Like, the first time having a conversation, you get a chance to call somebody, call out. He called out. Again, I was 7. And this was his 3rd offense, so he was locked up for a minute. And I don't tell a lot of people this, but I think it's just very, very, very level setting. And it was a trauma response for me, and part of me for speaking slowly and taking my time. But it's really hard to say this to people because it's affected my life since I've grown up. But I remember him getting arrested, and I remember calling us for the first time. And as a kid, you have so many questions. And like I said, I saw him get arrested on TV. I saw my teachers at school teach about drugs. I saw him run over a police officer on TV. So all I could do was ask, why? You know, like, as a kid, you don't understand anything. And mental health is important, which is why I made this channel. And so being able to hear out of his mouth and how Coach Swole was founded, I asked Marco Xavier Burton, why were you a drug dealer? Why were you absent in my life? Why are you not here? And it's really hard to say this because I don't tell a lot of people this, and it gets me teared up every time. So I apologize, and I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I promise I'm gonna get to the point. I remember when he told me, and I asked him why. He told me it was my fault at 7 years old. He told a 7-year-old kid who didn't even know who he was. He didn't show up to even me being born or celebrated. And he missed so many birthdays. And I ain't even know who he was. He told me it was my fault. So just the level set and to hear that come out of somebody's mouth was just like a severe trauma response. And so right after he told me that, I just took it on the chin. And there's so many positives and negatives, and I will talk about that in later videos. Coming from that. And I just remember focusing on the positives for this video, telling my mama that she would never have to struggle the same way future families, or the same way families today have to struggle without their father. And she won't have to worry about me doing something like that. And I remember promising myself that my future family at age 7, bro, like, what 7-year-old makes this deal with himself that they future kids would never have to struggle the same way that you had to struggle because you just now everything clicked, you know, like, and to have that burden of everything being your fault. I know mental health is important. He ain't mean for it to, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. He ain't mean for it to say it was my fault, but I took that on the chin, and it's been like a trauma response for me. So like every little thing I can do to benefit other people or to try and get people into the way of their dreams or aspirations, that's what I've tried to do. And in essence, and it's a blessing and a curse. But piggyback off that, I think that it's important to say that whoever has experienced the same situation, that 1, it is not your fault. 2, you have the ability to make change, and 3, we can move on forward and move on from it. And that's exactly what I did. I moved on from it. And so I took it as a challenge. And at age 7, I'm really proud of myself. And I could have been down and out. You know what I'm saying? I was embarrassed when I watched him get arrested on television. And I had to go to school the next day. But it also became apparent that, like, damn, now I realized, and I didn't tell y'all this yet, that I'm getting bullied for all these fake clothes and all this stuff because we weren't financially stable. It wasn't my fault. So I had a double whammy. Not only was I just had to deal with the embarrassment of my dad getting arrested, but I also had to deal with the embarrassment of me not being able to make friends because I was bullied for the clothes I wear. And because of how I articulate, and I grew up in a PWI, it was so hard for me to make genuine friends for the first 13 years of my life. I was looked at as the black kid who was different from the others. And then for my black friends or the black kids that I try to grow up with, they just said I was too white for them. So plus the fake clothes and me being bullied for that, it was so hard. Like, it was so hard to try and figure out that I fit in. Ultimately, I did, but I just want to make it completely transparent that it is like, you never know what someone is going through. And my teachers don't know. They don't know this. Y'all don't know this. I'm saying this for the first time. And the reason behind the motivation is that there's always a positive in whatever you're going through. And I'm going to talk about that again. I keep saying a little bit later, but it was bad, bro. All my friends were in academically driven programs or advanced placement, and I would always fail at like 1 or 2 questions. So I was always fucking left out. Always left out as an outcast. And I know what it feels like. So what Coach Swole was able to do and how I was able to pivot was finding, and what I challenge y'all to do is to find something that y'all are good at. To find something that makes you happy, no matter what you're doing. For me, it was football at a young age. My mom put me in football to channel my anger. And I was able to go full fruition with that, get a full ride, all of that. A later story down the road. But when you find something you're good at, I would say leverage it, because it's able to channel things that you've never seen before. And you're able to see things through a different lens. You know what I'm saying? And pardon me, I got the hiccups too, and it's late at night. So I'm really just on edge, and I just got done working. But I think that with Marco being there and me level setting with y'all with my story, I think it's apparent that, especially if you're young and growing up, don't fall victim of what people think. You need to make a promise and a detailed outline for yourself, because regardless of what people think, they gonna talk regardless, whether you fat, short, skinny, big, swole, muscular, they always gonna talk. You smart, they talk about Jesus. And that's what brought me comfort from my mom. She always told me people talk about Jesus. And they talked about him and they crucified him, but look at him. Like, he's a great. And without Marco, I want y'all to understand that growing up without your father, whoever's going out without a father, you never know, like I said, what people are going through. So he struggled from mental stress issues, and I'm diving into a little bit more about what happened when he was arrested that third time in my matriculation, right? So getting back on track, and I know I dived a little bit off. When he got arrested that second time, and he told me it was my third, like it was my fault. When he got out that second time, and he told me it was my fault, my fault. I remember he was arrested until the point to where I was 16. Now, at this point, long story short for me, going into it, I didn't realize how long time had passed. But by the time he got out, I was older than him. I was stronger than him, taller than him. My dad was short. He was 5'5". So when he got out and he tried to build a relationship with me as a different person, I had already been through like puberty. I had already went through like trying to talk to girls. I had to teach myself how to talk to girls. I had already been through, you know what I'm saying, what I thought what made a man. But then additionally, luckily, God blessed me with a stepfather to be able to teach me everything that I thought I missed and then some. And so when Marco got out the last time, so to speak, he wanted to really change who he was. He wanted to become a better person. And my challenge to you all is, and my first call to action is to be able to understand that, especially if you're going through this now, people aren't going to be who they are tomorrow, and to have grace and forgiveness. When Marco got out that second time, he's a completely different person, but because of the perception I had of him, because of what he did to me growing up, I had a little bit of resentment. I didn't know what forgiveness felt like, and he tried his hardest to make relationships with his only born son at the time, but I didn't want to hear it because I'm a grown man now. You didn't want to pour into me when you was out. You didn't want to spend time with me. So I was very resentful, and I wish I wasn't. But as I began to give him a chance, I began to notice that he was making the changes to become a better man. And as you begin to make changes, though, and you begin to make better decisions, you come to realize that karma is a real thing. And as I'm building the relationship with my dad and I finally get close to him, the last day that Marco was alive, and this is one of my biggest sins, I just want to level set too. He looked at me and he apologized for everything that he did. He told me, "I love you, son." It was at my grandma's house. And getting emotional again because it's so surreal, and this is my second call to action. When he got out that last time, I want y'all to know that like he was trying his hardest. He didn't try to sell no dope. He didn't try to do everything. Like, he was trying to buy real estate. He was trying to rent out houses. And it was just like so much resentment as a young boy. Like, why couldn't you just do this from the beginning? So like, I didn't really give him a chance to understand me. So when I did give him a chance and he started to understand me and we started to go out, there was still resentment there. So the last day he was alive, we played Madden, and y'all, I love football, for those of y'all that don't know. And I'm also like in the top 10% of Madden. So when we played football and we played Madden, I whooped his ass. Obviously, he quit. He was just like, you know what, son? I'm going to catch you later. I love you. And my second call to action and one of my biggest sins is I always tell someone you love them because you never know when they might pass. So he told me and I apologize. He told me I love you, son. And I apologize, and he left the house. And I remember just saying, yeah, or whatever. Took a nap and woke up. Drove to the house. As soon as I get to the house, take another nap because I'm tired from football practice. My mom came into the room and woke me up and just told me he had been shot in the head from his past and his past aggressions, and I just remember feeling numb. And we drive to the hospital, and as soon as I pulled in, that's where he had his last breath. And the last words he said to me was, I love you, son, and I didn't say it back. So my second call to action is to be able to tell other people, regardless of what's going on, tell them you love them if you meet it. Because you never know when you might see him. He had got shot in the head. He passed this second I had got to the hospital, and just being able to level set full transparency of his forgiveness within himself and him trying to do better, and he wasn't able to. I can only imagine the burden that he placed on himself trying to be able to fix the relationship he had with his son. And I feel bad now not being able to tell him that I love him, but also at the same time being able to level set that people can change every day. And that lesson taught me forgiveness. So if y'all watch this video, I don't care if you like or subscribe, just learn, most importantly, how to forget, because people may not be here tomorrow. And then thirdly, what I learned from this tragedy is being able to leverage your network, your friends and your family. Your friends and your family gonna be able to get it through. All my friends, when he passed away, and even like my coaches, would show up and show support. I didn't have to do any high school work for 2 to 3 weeks. I graduated. Like that, I got all A's, thank God. But just being able to find the right set of people to be able to pour your information into, or find the right people to give your grief to, is so important. You are who you hang around. So if you have people that are very negative, or if you're trying to do positive, like if you're trying to invest and all they want to do is smoke, or if you're trying to get to your dream and all they want to do is party, you need to level set and find friends that are going to put you in a position that's going to elevate you. And luckily, I had that support system. And so my name is Chase Bird. I grew up in a single parent household where my mom struggled to make ends meet. My father was a very unique character, and because he was unique, because he was who he said he was, like I said prior to this video, I was able to navigate, graduate with 2 degrees without him accumulating over $130,000 in scholarships. Have, again, graduated from 2 prestigious schools, Morehouse and Georgetown University, McDonald's School of Business, and then now I have the ability to teach finances and be able to teach other people how to become financial literate, because my mom struggled. It's the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And my challenge to you all is, if you relate to this story, or if you've heard anyone that's gone through this personal player series or anything else, just please share it to them, because you have the ability to make dreams come true. You have the ability to make all the things that people say about you or all the things you think about yourself, you have the ability to make that a false reality. And it all starts with the belief in yourself. And although I'm very emotional and I'm not very good at storyboarding, I just hope that this plays a role in how y'all see things. This is the first part. And the second part will be coming very soon. So hopefully y'all are able to relate to it. Thank you again for tuning in. We'll get a little bit more into it later on, but this is it for this video because I'm tearing up. But thank you.